This is my really first video here and I'm using the DJI camera, so this is my first time trying it on. And they have like a mic, so I'm trying this mic and apparently it's a really good quality one. Alright, so let me kick off my content creator journey with this amazing mic. Alright, hi everyone, my name is Mariam. I am Moroccan and I have been living in France for a while already. And a lot of you have been asking me in some of the comments on my very small content that I have been making on TikTok for a while, what I have been doing for a living. So how did I break into finance? And that's one of the questions that keeps coming back, mainly on my LinkedIn and in my circle of friends. They've been trying to understand, like, how can you actually break into finance when you have no financial background, and which was my case. So I actually started as a mechanical engineer. When I graduated from high school in Morocco, I had the choice either to stay in Morocco or to travel to France and kick off my university education here. And I think that was one of the best decisions I have ever made, because you could criticize however you want the educational system in France, university system, but you still learn a thing or two. So I did specialize in mechanical engineering because I initially wanted to be a watchmaker. It sounds crazy, but yes, that's what I really wanted to do. And that's why also I'm kind of passionate about watches. But I quickly realized that it was kind of a tough industry to go into because watchmaking is extremely niche and you don't need that many watchmakers in the world. I know Gerald Genta, you've got like a few other watchmakers that are extremely well famous in Switzerland, but you cannot expect to have that many. And so, yes, I was not really interested in any other field in mechanical engineering other than this one, which had some sort of indirect link to fashion and luxury. And so I decided to dig a little bit about other options. And the one good thing about France is that a lot of my friends, classmates who did engineering school, the same as the one I did, you typically, and it's not that surprising to actually go and do another master's degree. So I already held a master's degree in mechanical engineering, but I quickly realized that I was not going to get a really good salary out of school with this type of, let's say profile. And I was, to be very honest, very, very interested in anything related to, business, management, finance, entrepreneurship. And I had no idea how to break into this whole like field. Breaking into finance could be tricky and it's not that easy. It's extremely selective as well. However, you have some tips that you could follow in order for you to be able to get into this very competitive field. You have to understand that it's extremely quite technical, and I think what helped me in the first place to get into finance is actually my mechanical engineering degree and the fact that I just loved math and numbers. Because if you don't love numbers and if you don't know how to manage numbers, I'm so sorry to tell you that you need to get to work if you really want to do finance. So I did a master's degree in a business school here in France, and following this master's degree, I did a few internships. But here is the thing. Having a full-time is not the toughest part. Actually getting internships is one of the toughest parts, because you could do 2 internships of 6 months and that's a very decent experience that will qualify you to get a really good full-time job after that. So I had to work so hard to get my very first internship, and I know myself, I'm someone who has extremely high standards. So I just didn't want to take whatever internship was available or try to just accept whatever internship I got on the table. So I had to work really, really hard in order for me to apply for what we call summer internships. And summer internships are usually 9 weeks long in London. For those who live in Europe, it's in London, but for those who live, for example, in the US, it's going to be in New York, or like in every, I think in the US you have them a bit everywhere. And for those who live in Asia, you're going to, find them mainly in Hong Kong, I guess. And also in the Middle East, you'll find them mainly in Dubai, probably Abu Dhabi, but mainly in Dubai. So, how did I go about it? And that's the most interesting part of this video. So, I was an engineer. I got into this master's degree in finance, which is one of, let's say, the most reputable ones here in France and Europe. And I had to do the rest of the work, which is how to convince and how to get the first interview, right? First interview has been extremely tough. I've been working so hard every single day to understand at least whether I'm qualified to actually get that type of internship with my background. And I was actually sabotaging myself, thinking that I will never be able to do so because I've been digging on LinkedIn, and all I found was people with this type of, let's say, mechanical engineering background will never be able to get into a summer internship because you're not in London and you're basically in France and you're having like this what kind of master's degree, and it's extremely tough. Like, you can have like an internship in any other financial institution, of course, but it's going to be extremely tough to get it to get those summer internships in bulge bracket companies. And what I mean by bulge bracket are like, we're talking about big banks, Wall Street banks. We're not talking about like small local banks that are, local to the country. So that was my target, and this is what I really wanted to achieve. Initially, I started contacting people on LinkedIn, alumni. I was just trying to get the sense of how did they manage to get into that internship. But like the problem is that most of them actually already did first internship in France, and that's how they actually managed to get the second internship and so on. But me, I didn't have that much time to waste, because when you do summer internship, it's in your penultimate year. You cannot do it after you graduate. So I only had one shot, and of course, I didn't have any previous experience in finance. And so what I needed to do, was network, try to understand what is going to be my, kind of position in here with respect to my other peers who are in the same class as me, and everyone wants the summer internship. We were like around probably like 100, or I can't remember, 100 in the whole like, cohorts of that 2016. And so you're competing with everyone in your class, but not only everyone in all the other business schools in Europe to get that summer internship in London. And so it was a bit frustrating for me. And I had to do two things. I had to sit down and think about my strengths and write a pitch about why I think I'm worthy of that internship. Think deeply about what I am capable of and what other things that I can bring to the table that others with a financial background don't. And I had to focus really on that. And I had to focus on a storytelling. And I had to focus also on the technical side of things, because let's just be honest, at that time I was just starting out my finance master's, so I did not have really that much to brag about when it comes to, how to do evaluation. What are the three main types of valuation? Like, can you go walk me through financial statements and so on? This type of questions I was absolutely never going to be. I was not ready for it at that moment, and the internship interview starts early in the year. So it starts in September, and my master started in September. So I had to fix this part first before I actually take care of my master's and learn the finance principles. But anyway, so I actually did two things too. So I actually did that, and I also had to work extremely hard with learning finance quickly, and thinking about all possible questions that I could get during the interviews. And so I did this. And in addition to this, there's one really main thing that you need to do is attending events. Except that in finance, everything is so selective, and so it's kind of frustrating because sometimes you just get rejected from those events, and you're like, okay, so what do I do now? And honestly, I did not want to. whatever that rejection was, I was like thinking in my brain, like, this is just an event, it's not gonna cost them anything. So if I get rejected, I will still figure out the address and I will still manage to get in. And 9 times out of 10 I managed to get in, even though I got rejected. So please don't be defeated when you receive like a rejection from a bank regarding a networking event, because you really need to go there and try to network yourself, and try to find people who actually have the more or less the same kind of profile and keep contact with them, and just communicate vulnerably, like what you're capable of and what you're not capable of. You kind of sense it, that if you're lying, you're lying, and if you're trying to fake it till you make it, sometimes it just can backfire when you're like in this type of events. For a few weeks, I ended up getting invited into for 2 interview sessions. Basically, how it works in London, you get that interview for like a full day. So there are not like 9 interviews. You'll get 5, 6 interviews the same day, and you get the decision whether you get accepted or not 2 days later. So it's pretty quick in terms of the processes. But what is actually long is the whole preparation before. So I managed to get that interview. And so one of the things that I actually worked on is how to be structured in my pitch. And I was like, you know what? Worst case scenario, if I don't get in, fine, I'll just do my internship in France and find somewhere else. Because we will end up with the resume that I had, with my technical and analytical capacities that I had, with my soft skills that I had. I was, let's say, kind of confident that I will end up with something. And so I ended up getting accepted in that one summer internship, which was an extremely happy moment for me and for my parents and for my friends. And so, yeah, I got in and I was like, yay, I'm gonna go live in London. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be like fantastic. And so I got in, and that was extremely tough. And that's the reality that hits. It just hits really different. I was really tired after my internship, to the level that my parents were like, how are you? You look anorexic. What's going on? I had like a dark blue kind of skin, and I was like tired and dead. But I ended up having the offer. And that's the type of games you actually start the game, and that's how you build resilience over time. It's by never giving up. And I think it's really important for you who would like to break into finance. Trust me, it is tough, it's not easy, and if you really want it, you're gonna make the effort for it. It's not just, yeah, okay, I really want to do finance and do that, but then you don't get accepted, and you're like, yeah, why didn't I get accepted? I don't understand. I have a nice CV. I have sent you few resumes to few people, but then yeah, it's not working because you did not push it enough. And it's just that simple, really. So for me, the one and only secret, in order to get into this type of in financial institutions, is just simply resilience. This is the only principle that you need to keep in mind, and work on it. Think about your strength. Think about your, areas of improvement, I'd say, and improve those areas and continue to strengthen your skills. And you're gonna get in. You're gonna end up getting in. But then I will make another video where I will be discussing my the next phase of my career when I got into full time, and why I decided to drop investment banking. And yeah, we're gonna do that in another video. See you.